We are doing another program review today of a bro split program in the Playbook app, and we're gonna find out if this program makes the cut. What's up, everyone? Jason Brown here, the king of programming, back for another program review. We've got Perna, who's a fitness expert, the bro split in the Playbook app. Thus far, haven't had a great experience in this app. We've had some good ones. You guys have seen some of the good ones we have, but overall, it's been kind of the same theme across the board. So what am I looking at when I look at these programs? I look at the fundamentals of program design. I look at exercise order, exercise selection, sets, reps, and rest intervals, and conditioning. Sometimes there's no conditioning, sometimes there's a lot of conditioning, and it tends to be kind of a sliding scale. But we're gonna take a look at this program today, and based on the name, I'm gonna guess it's probably not a huge emphasis on conditioning. The bro split. I actually like the name because it's not cryptic. When you hear the name, the bro split, you're basically gonna assume that it's a body part split, right? Anyone that hears that would say, hey, I don't like doing bro splits. I tend to hear that now from a lot of people, that crowd of like, they used to do bro splits and they're kind of moved on to other things. So I really actually like the name of this. I like having a program name that is just very much goes to the end user and gives them what they need. And if someone's looking for that style of training, then they can find it easily. So this program, as you could imagine, is made up of a body part split. We've got chest and abs, back, legs, arms, shoulders, and then we go into week 2. So it's 5 days per week. And so again, no cardio unless there's something behind here once I click on these days. But again, chest, abs, back, legs, and arms and shoulders. All right, so let's take a look at what we've got here. This is a 4-week program. Day 1, we've got flat bench press, descending reps. So 2 minutes rest. Wow, that's actually surprising. I usually see 60 seconds, or sometimes we see 71 seconds rest. I don't know, you don't know, but this has a fair amount of rest, which I think is really good. I tend to see people go the other way. So 3 minutes rest, definitely gonna be enough rest for this movement to build in weight. So far, so good. Superset number 1, we've got an incline dumbbell chest press and a single arm low cable fly, resting 2 minutes. Again, a fair amount of rest. So essentially what this is we're working a pressing pattern and a fly pattern. So we have an agonist superset, we're working the same musculature. It's definitely a strategy you can use. There's a fair amount of rest there, so I actually like that. And then we're doing a drop set with the flies where we're just burning out. And then some incline flies more. So we've got flies, flies, flies. And then we end with a giant set of some core work where we're doing twisting, crunching, and crunching. So overall, this day as a whole isn't too bad. There's a fair amount of rest. It's definitely better compared to what I've seen in the Playbook app. Now, if we want to do just a chest day, what I would recommend we do is I would probably use a little bit less with the flies. I think using the flies 3 times in one session is probably overkill. I think we could go about it a few different ways. I'd like to see a dip pattern. I think a dip pattern is a great thing to include on a chest day where we could do it very heavy. So I think the order and how things are structured is a little bit off, but I like that there's a lot of rest. The giant set at the end for the core work, I tend to see that core work in influencer land is like working the same things, crunching, 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 where we're not thinking about rotation, we're not thinking about side bending or even just bracing and doing something like a carry. So I would say I don't love that, but I think overall this is pretty good compared to what else is in here. So let's move on. Let's see what we've got for day 2. So this is our back day, which would make sense because we did a fair amount of front of the body. So anterior, let's hit some posterior work. So we've got a superset of lat pull down and rope pullover, and then we've got conventional deadlift resting 3 minutes. Again, I like it, 12, 12, 10, 10. Pretty high repetitions for a conventional deadlift, but you know, for some people that's gonna be perfectly fine. And then we've got a superset of rows and shrugs. Row and a shrug superset. A row has a shrug. If you think about it, we're rowing, we're getting a lot of upper traps in there. So rows and shrugs is not something I would superset, but I think, you know, it's perfectly fine in this case. And then some seated cable row and some more pull downs for 4 sets of 20, so 80 reps. Overall, I don't think this is a bad day. I don't think it's necessarily overkill. But again, I think that just the overall structure of it could be better. I would put that conventional deadlift earlier in the session. I would have that be my main movement of the day. Barbell shrug, barbell row. I would probably keep the barbell row done in isolation as one exercise and rest 2 minutes between sets. The seated cable row, you could certainly do. I think that this session as a whole, if you just did one exercise, and the same thing would go for day one. If you just did one exercise in a row, if you want to just have a chest day, I would do a barbell bench press, I would do a dip, I would do some type of chest press with dumbbells or a machine, and then maybe your flies and then your core work. So 5 things for day one. Day two, I do conventional deadlift, your barbell row, your seated row, maybe some lat pull downs, and then some more core work. And that's how I would structure the day. I think that would make this program better, but there is a lot here, a lot of things structured. But overall, I think this is pretty good compared to what I have seen in this app. There is more rest. 3 minutes rest, I don't think I've ever seen that in the Playbook app. So this is a first. If you're like me and love optimizing your health and performance, love cookies and tacos, subscribe to my once weekly newsletter, EWOD. There's zero pressure, zero spamming to join, and a lot of value to gain. And as a special thank you, I'll send you a discount code to any of my training subscriptions. The link is in the description. See you on the inside. And let's take a peek at what we got for our leg day. So before we even look at this leg day, I want you guys to keep in mind, we just did heavy deadlifts, heavy barbell rows. I talk about barbell rows being a movement that I don't like. The reason is, when you do a barbell row, you still have to stabilize the lumbar spine. So there's a lot on the posterior chain when you are doing a barbell row. It's not just working the upper back. That's why I tend to prefer the chest supported variation. So just, again, something to keep in mind. So this is a day that is very bodybuilder emphasis style day. We've got hamstring curls, pendulum squats or hack squats, a superset of leg press and leg curl, leg extension drop set, walking lunges, calf press, calf raise. So overall, this is a pretty good day. I think that there's nothing wrong with this. He's got longer rest intervals. I'd probably go longer on those hack squats. I don't think there's anything wrong with this day. And based on what we did on Tuesday, I think this is a good way to go about it, where we do more isolation work. We really focus on kind of isolating the quadriceps, doing things that really emphasize the quadriceps and hamstrings is a good choice based on what we've done on the previous day. So overall, it's not my style. It's not what I would do. I would reorder this. I would use the hack squats as a main movement. I would do the hamstring curls second. I would do the superset. Probably not. I'd probably follow kind of the same theme where we just do one exercise at a time and rest, full recovery between sets. If you want to get the most from a hypertrophy training program, one exercise at a time with longer rest is going to elicit more mechanical tension and thus allow you to gain more from hypertrophic standpoint. So that's something to consider and something I would personally do if I was writing a program that was geared specifically towards you just gaining as much lean tissue as possible. That's how I would do it. But overall, I think someone will get results from this program. And I'd be willing to bet that there are people using this that are getting good results from it. So definitely something to consider. Now we're going into an arms day. So let's think back. We did legs, and then we did a lot of pulling on Tuesday, and obviously a lot of pressing on Monday. So this is day 4. So this is essentially Thursday of the week. So only 48 hours from Monday, or excuse me, 48 hours from Tuesday, but 72 hours from Monday. And the day here is more direct arm work. So again, I like this because we've got direct biceps, direct triceps. I don't see a rest interval there. It looks like maybe they just overlooked that. Which is weird because I've seen the rest intervals very descriptive throughout this entire program. So it is a bis and tris day, which makes sense based on what we've done. So you guys see the theme here. Everything builds. There's an organization. We're using, having a structure that allows us to get the most from the training without having it interfere, having previous session interfere. So you have to always keep in mind what you've done. This is why when people ask, what can I add? I don't know what you can add. All I know is what you can do that's in my program, because that's what's planned for. I don't plan for someone adding in their own things. I plan for what is there, and everything is specifically and strategically planned. That much planning goes into it. I don't know if you guys know that, but a lot goes into designing a proper program. It's not just, I'm gonna put this in this day. There's a lot to it. So overall, I think this is a pretty solid program. You guys, again, when I tell you guys what I would do, it's not because I'm sitting here saying I think I'm better than anyone. I'm just sitting here telling you what I would do based on the goals of this program, based on just proper tenets of program design, how I would change things and potentially make it better. So let's look at the final day of the week. We've got a shoulder day, and it's very direct, cable side raise, military press with dumbbell side raise. So this being a shorter program, actually, I looked at that really quick. Let me look at it one more time so you guys can see it. 30 seconds rest, 90 seconds. Definitely go a little longer. I like the longer rest interval here, and shrugs Okay, so let's talk about what we've got in this program. So we've got a fair amount of isolation work. We're using multi-joint patterns. There's longer rest intervals. Some of the order isn't perfect. There's definitely some things that I would personally improve. But I think overall, you've got the makings of a pretty solid program here, which I'm pleasantly surprised today because I was getting very just tired of going through programs in this app because they tend to be just complete dog shit. This is definitely not one of them. You've got the makings of a program that A, makes sense, B, is well organized, and C, if your goal is to just gain lean tissue and do it for 4 weeks, these strategies, doing agonist supersets, is something I would use for short bouts of time. If this was a 12-week program and that was a strategy across 12 weeks, it would be too long, people will get burnt out. But this being a 4-week program, I have to take that into consideration and whether or not this is a good program. I think it's a good program because it's only 4 weeks. It's organized. There's a lot of isolation work. The sessions are aligned in terms of what plays off the next. So the cons of this program is that I would like to see a little bit better order with the main patterns of the day. Now, I think you could make the argument, well, does this stuff prior to potentiate the main movement of the day? And I think it could in theory, but I would like to see a little bit better order there across the board. But really, that's my personal preference. I'm nitpicking. You could certainly make an argument either way. But overall, I think that what is here and what someone's trying to do in a short period of time, 4 weeks being a short period of time, I think this is a pretty solid program. So this is an improved program. If you're an experienced everyday athlete and you're looking for the best training on planet Earth, check out my free training subscriptions. A 7-day free trial link is in the description.
Best program available on the internet today.
I think it's very difficult to find a trainer like Jason that...
Since joining Everyday Heroes, I feel like I've stopped working out and actually started training.